Hello, 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 beautiful souls. How are you guys doing today on this magnificent Tuesday? Yana Kasperczak, your spiritual awakening core energy coach. And my soul's purpose is to help you get your shit together so you can break free from the mental prison that you find yourself in and live a fulfilling life that you are proud of and excited to wake up to every single day, no matter what it is that you're doing. No matter whether you have chaos in your house and you're dealing with a lot, or you're growing your business, or you're growing yourself, or you're outgrowing yourself. And today, the topic that I have for you all is why a butterfly cannot go back to the caterpillar stage. And I'll share a story with you. So this topic and this idea came to me last night as I was getting ready to fall asleep, and it came to me as a memory of me being a child and being the curious child that I was. The scientist in me, that we all have a scientist in us, where we want to know how things work, how things operate. I learned that a butterfly cannot go back to the caterpillar stage, and I'll share that story of how that happened and what I did. But for today's purposes, we're going to be talking about the butterfly as a metaphor for your own personal growth and development and evolution. And I'll share with you a few reasons why once you become a butterfly, you cannot go back to the caterpillar stage. And also, what is a caterpillar stage? The first quote that comes to mind that I want to share with you is that what the caterpillar believes is the end, the butterfly knows it's the beginning. So that shows you just the bird's eye view, no pun intended, where the birds eat the butterflies and the caterpillars, but shows you the bird eye view on spiritual awakening and our own personal evolution that we all go through. Not all of us get to go through the caterpillar stage and emerge a butterfly. There are people who will not get to experience that in this lifetime, but it might be in the next lifetime that they get to experience that. So it is an opportunity that has been given to those of you who have been going through spiritual awakening, which the best way to describe it is you have been dealing with a lot of things within you. You're healing from your first part of your life and learning from it and evolving from it and helping others to do the same and not bringing anyone down, but really just focusing on yourself and your own growth and your evolution, where the caterpillar herself will be going through a lot of internal turmoil. The caterpillar, if we're going to talk about the good girl, the caterpillar feels like she has to be the good girl, and she has to do this, she has to do that, she has to do this and that and everything, and at the same time make sure that she's eating enough and that she's doing what she's supposed to be doing, and at the same time cocooning herself in the cocoon. So what the caterpillar believes is the end. We all who are going through spiritual awakening or have gone through and continue to go through spiritual awakening, because once it starts, you can't just shut it off. You continue to go through it. That are going through spiritual awakening, you will recognize that there are going to be things that will come up for you, and what you do with it is what's going to define your future. If you will continue to stay in this caterpillar stage, or if you will evolve and you will emerge a butterfly. So now I feel like it will be the perfect time to share my childhood story of how the scientist in me, the curious little Yana, wanted to set the butterfly free and help it to become a caterpillar again without knowing what I was doing. So, and this, I remember yesterday, like I was very young, and that's why I remember it as a movie clip that I got to rewatch as an observer of this little Yana walking down the path with her mom, and a butterfly lands in her hand, and she catches the butterfly, and she decides, hey, I'm gonna take its wings off. So she rips off the wings and go, fly, butterfly. And of course, it didn't fly. And some of you might feel like that. Some of you might feel that I'm now a butterfly, I'm not flying, but here's these bad words want to come through. Let's use a nicer word. Here are these trolls who are trying to clip my wings and take my wings away from me. So a true butterfly, which means that when you are actually in a stage of the butterfly, none of that noise will matter. None of that will take your life away from you, will take your energy away from you, will take, your life force away from you. You're still going to know that you're a butterfly. No one can tell you that you're a caterpillar, because you can't go back to that stage. When it comes to, think about it this way, that in order for you to become a butterfly, you go through a lot of internal changes. You grow internally. Your mindset changes. You create new neural connections. You create new brain cells. You quite literally do all those things. And your cells evolve. Yes, you're still going to look like a human, but you're not going to feel like the same human that you once were. You're not going to feel like a butterfly. And that's why the caterpillar goes through a few stages before it becomes a butterfly. And it continues to think, this is the end, this is the end, this is the end. Oh no, this is the beginning, this is the beginning. No, it's the end. Whereas the butterfly knows this is the beginning, and it will fly. No matter what gets in the way of the butterfly, it will find its way, right? Unless it's a truck going really fast and it goes into the truck, then that's a little different. We're talking about actual butterflies here. So you have literally become a different person. Your brain is different than it was before. Your neural connections, and neural connections are not just in your brain, they're in your body, and they're definitely in your heart. So you literally become a different person. You literally become a butterfly, and there is no going back to the way that you were. You might find yourself revisiting who you were through your triggers, but you don't end up going back there, because the difference between the caterpillar stage and the butterfly stage when it comes to triggers is that when you are in the caterpillar stage, you're triggered and you're literally working through them, what might feel like every single day, over and over and over again. But when you're in the butterfly stage, you start to recognize those triggers as opportunities, and they no longer have the hold on you that they once did. They no longer control you. They no longer dictate how you're going to react, because you're no longer reacting, you are going to respond. So that is the difference between the caterpillar stage and the butterfly stage. And once you are in the butterfly stage, once you've healed yourself, which you'll continue to do, just because you're not so charged with the trigger does not mean it doesn't affect you at all. Does not mean that it's like, just the wind passing by. No, it still is going to help you grow and evolve, but it's not going to take your energy away from you. It's not going to drain you. It's not going to deteriorate you from where you're trying to go. It's not going to stop you from growing. It actually will do the opposite. It will help you to grow quicker and faster without that negative emotional and energetic charge that you once were dealing and growing through as the caterpillar within the caterpillar stage. So you can start to see why you can't go back to the caterpillar stage, even if someone tries to rip your wings off, like Yana did to a butterfly one day when she was little. But in reality, there are going to be some people who will try to take your wings, who will try to bring you down, who will try to make you feel bad. But you're not going to be reactive to that. You're going to respond. You simply can't go back because your body is different, your mind is different, you are a different person. That pretty much, I feel like that describes it quite well as to why we can't go back to the caterpillar stage from a butterfly stage. Let me see, what else can I add? Honestly, another way to describe it is that when you vibrate at a higher frequency, at a higher state of mind and being, because you're a more evolved version of yourself, that other people who are at a low frequency, they simply can't reach you, and even though they try to, they won't be able to. They no longer have power over you, and that itself can trigger some people, by the way. And invitation would be for me to you is clean house. Declutter and organize your life, not just your physical life, not just your physical surroundings, but the people in your life. It is hugely important for all of us, no matter where you are on your evolution journey, on your personal development journey, whether you are in the caterpillar stage or whether you are in a butterfly stage. Who you surround yourself with and who is part of your life has an enormous effect on you. Because if you're in a caterpillar stage and you surround yourself with people who are always negative, always down, don't have anything nice or positive to say, who are talking about other people, and the phrase that comes to mind is that small-minded people will talk about other people, but people with big minds, they don't waste their energy in gossip and talking about other people, unless it is in a positive way of what can we learn, how, she's doing this and it's amazing and I love it, how can I help her, and what can we learn from that experience for ourselves, for myself. And when you are in a butterfly state, you might find yourself around people who are not fitting where you are. But the difference is that there is, when you create that separation, you clean house when it comes to certain people in your life, that you're not attached. Because in the caterpillar stage, what I've noticed, and this I noticed with myself as well, when I was really, there's a book that my son has, and I used to read it to him all the time, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, when the caterpillar would just eat and eat and eat. And what I would take from that story is that we can all get into that stage of the very hungry caterpillar, when we are just eating and eating and eating, and it's like we want everything, and that would be experiences, trying to do too many experiences, too many friends, just trying to collect friends as if they're trophies, as if, look at me, I got all these friends. Knowledge, just over consuming knowledge and taking in all that information and not doing anything with it, and feeling like I can't let go of it because I'm no one without it all. But then the caterpillar goes in the cocoon, and it is alone in that cocoon. And it's important to be alone, to really detach yourself from everything and from everyone, and to know thyself, to know yourself, to get to know who you are, and not who you are in relation to this person, to that person, to this experience, to that experience, to this book, to that book, but just You and you and you. Me, myself, and myself. Me, myself, and Irene. You guys watch that movie? If you haven't, it's a fun one to watch. But it's you with you with you, and you get to know you. And that's one of the scariest things for everyone. For everyone. So you're not the only one who's scared of facing yourself. Because in facing yourself, you really get to know all of the dark parts of yourself, all those fears that you would much rather not know of, much rather not remember. And that's why not everybody gets to go through the spiritual awakening that many of you are going through, and some of you might not be. Because through that awakening, you are faced with yourself, and you're dealing with yourself, and you're sitting with yourself. You get to have all kinds of parties with yourself, including the pity party, including the celebration parties, and including owning who you are, and then choosing what you want to do with it. That will bring you closer to the butterfly that you want to be. And there's so many different types and species of butterflies. And we're discovering new species of butterflies all the time. And that's evolution itself. Now, since we're talking about species of butterflies, and I'm not a butterfly expert by all means, but there was something that I heard, how new species are found and in the way created as well. It has a lot to do with the environment of where let's say the butterflies are born, the caterpillars are born, and where they're growing up in a different environment, different thing. And it's literally, let's say we'll use a monarch butterfly because that's the only one that we seem to have as an emoji, until we'll have more species of butterflies adding or added to the butterfly emoji list. But let's use the monarch butterfly. If the caterpillar or the butterfly lays eggs, and the caterpillars emerge, and they're growing up in this environment, that this environment previously was one way and now it's a little bit different, that what happens is that these new caterpillars are eating different foods that they did not previously eat. They were exposed to different kind of frequencies, different vibrations, different let's use them frequencies, right? Where it comes to our technology evolving and developing, and they're being exposed to a different environment that their parents, that their grandparents, and so on and on and on weren't. Now what's going to happen is some of these new butterflies, baby butterflies, are going to have different patterns. Instead of, let's say, having a solid circle, it will look more like a wiggly circle. And instead of having straight lines, it will have wavy lines. So guess what happens? Now that becomes a brand new species. We discovered a brand new species. Well, no, it's more like nature, and then humans in a way have contributed to that nature, have created this new species. So what I'm saying with this is that don't limit yourself to this illusion of this is the butterfly you must be. Allow yourself to evolve with the environment and within the environment that you're in, because you can't do very much when it comes to changing your environment. You're living the life that you're living. Certain things you can't change, and many of those things you can't. Learning to accept where you are, who you are, and allowing yourself to grow through it all, and recognizing that you're not going to be this type of butterfly, or that type of butterfly, or this type of butterfly. When I say butterfly now, I mean this person, and that person. They just give you an idea of, hey, they're butterflies, they're shining their light, and they're enjoying their life as their life and not trying to fit in anywhere. But that's again assumption, because a lot of people are still trying to fit in no matter how perfect they try to make their life seem. So all we can do is just be aware that all we're doing is assuming that someone's life or someone's experience is better than ours. But in that process, what you're doing is you're bringing yourself down and saying that's better and this is not. The grass is greener and mine is dying grass. Whereas instead of looking over there look over here. Because by looking over there, you're watering their grass. You got to water yours. You got to focus on yourself and allow yourself to be the butterfly that you're meant to be within your own environment. And if there are changes that need to be made, you're the one that's in control and gets to choose what changes to make, no matter who's chirping in your ear and telling you, do this, do this, do that. You're the one that has a choice. You are at choice. Unless you're not. And when you're not, you're just running on your default program, which in becoming aware of your default program that is based on who you are being and not necessarily who you are, is where you actually have control and choice to change and do something different. But if you're not aware of the programming, if you're not aware of the messaging that you are carrying, and it is not just your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, it's more than that. It's your habits, it's your quirks, it's how you speak, it's how you carry yourself, it's your facial expressions, it's literally all that makes you you. That's your programming. And when you become more and more aware of it, that is when you can do something about it. But I can't even count how many people I have met that they choose to do the easy thing, and that is just change what you're thinking and not actually understanding where it's coming from, because it will continue to come back. And it just makes it for a harder life because it continues to come back, because you never actually took the time to read that chapter. And you just keep skipping through that chapter instead of diving into that chapter, that trigger on that thing that you continue to brush under the carpet, and just get through it in the ways that helps you to feel okay with it, but not actually going into the roots and dealing with it, because it will continue to come back. And I had to learn that the hard way, that no amount of meditation is great. Meditation has help, but at the same time, it doesn't always help. What does help is getting it out, whether it's in a journal, whether it's in a conversation with someone who I really value and trust. And for me, that has been coaches, because they've always had the best intention and the best tools to help me through it as well. And also, just going for a walk didn't always help. It helped me to feel better because I would get exercise, but it didn't always help to understand what is happening deep down within me, because I am limited to my own mind and my own stories and my own, let's call them split personalities, which we all have. We have those voices of the gremlin that is putting us down. We have those voices of the higher coach that is trying to uplift us, and then we have ourselves, and then we have the voice of our mother or our father, and all these different shoulds and coulds and stories. And by me just being with myself and trying to do it all on my own is very limiting, because it's just one person, one experience, one story, no one to have a rebuttal with. That's the phrase that comes to mind. So for me, it has been hugely important to have someone to talk with and express and get it out, and them hear it for what it is and reflect it back to me in a way that is helpful and not in a mean or demeaning kind of way. And that's why I say it's so important to have the right people in our life that we can do that with. Hey Debbie, hey Rebecca, how are you guys doing? Debbie says sounding board. Yeah, it's like a sounding board. And Rebecca said all the parts of ourselves. Yeah, facing all the parts of ourselves, getting to know all the parts of ourselves that we, more often than not, avoid. We avoid it in so many different ways, where I don't want to, not right now, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to deal with it, I'll do it later. But when the issue comes up, when the thoughts come up, when their emotions come up, there is no better time than right there in the moment when you are in it. and not when you're out of it. Because when you're out of it, you can't even see it in the same way, and you're no longer excited about it in a way, even though it doesn't feel like excitement when you're in it because you're going through something challenging. But when you're going through something and you're overcoming yourself, because that's what we're doing, we're overcoming ourselves through this caterpillar stage. We're overcoming ourselves, we're getting to know ourselves on a very personal level, and it is scary. And yet we have no problem going to get to know new people and getting to know them, because it's not as scary as getting to know ourselves. But at the end of the day, and in the beginning of your mornings, you're there with yourself. And if you are there with yourself and you see yourself as worthless and as not good enough and not deserving and really a piece of feces in a way, that you're really there with an enemy. Instead of making peace with yourself, making peace with who you are, and understanding that who you are is not limited, because you are working towards a better version of yourself that you would be so proud of, and anyone will be proud of. And when you make peace with yourself and you make a best friend out of yourself with yourself, that waking up in the morning can be and does become exciting, because you feel love right then and there, and you don't need no one else to give that to you, because you give it to yourself. When you go to bed, you won't even need someone else to tell you your worth or express their love for you or to you, that you will give that to yourself in the way of you become gratitude. I wrote down as I came up with this topic, why a butterfly can go back to being a caterpillar, to the caterpillar stage, is been there, done that. I am who I am because of that cocoon. I am gratitude. Not I'm being gratitude, not I'm being or trying to be grateful. I am gratitude. It is a whole entire frequency. It is a state of being and not trying to be. I am gratitude to all I have grown and outgrown, so I can now enjoy and experience joy in my life. I've earned it. Maybe that's like an affirmation. After I have read, I'm like, that sounds like an affirmation of each and every one of us going through a caterpillar stage and emerging as a butterfly. And what caterpillar believes is the end, the butterfly knows it's the beginning. And that is why a butterfly has been there, done that, and knows and owns who she is. And she does so unapologetically. And that does, in knowing who we are, recognizing our stories and our patterns and our programming that go deep down into being a good girl, and understanding all that the butterfly is still a good girl. She's a better good girl than the caterpillar was. She just has chosen her own butterfly wings of what kind of a good girl she wants to be. What does that mean to her? What does it look like to her? What does it sound like to her? And then she owns it, because she knows that she has earned it all, and that no one can shake her down from that tree that she's sitting on top of, because she needed to climb it or fly up it after she grew some wings, and sit there and own it. Makes me think of an eagle as well, in a way. Rebecca said, good point. We need to get curious about ourselves and value ourselves and accept ourselves 100%. And until we do, we will continue to suffer. I will put both of my hands on, because I did that for enough years to know that suffering is a choice. Pain is inevitable. We can feel pain, but suffering is a choice. And that's a choice that I found myself making every single day, until the best way to describe it almost feels like, because there's enough neural connections that were made, that my cells were changed and outgrown my previous cells, that I knew the difference between suffering and the choice of not to suffer. Because suffering is all the self-punishment that we do when we're going through something, how we talk to ourselves, how we don't talk to ourselves, how we deal with the situation and how we don't deal with the situation. All of that programming of what makes us us starts to come up, and it becomes our opportunity to, what do I do with it? Where do I go from there? Some of us need a little bit of time to sit with it and suffer enough and feel the pain enough until we have had enough. And then when we have enough, they're like, okay, I'm good. I'm not going back there. And that's why through spiritual awakening, we evolve, we become a better version of ourselves, and then we go back to our previous version. Not to the previous version, but the previous version. And then we evolve, we grow, we go back to our previous version. And then we go back, we grow. And then from there, we go back to our previous version. But you notice that when you go back to your previous version, you go to your previous version and not the version that you were 5-10 years ago. Which means that by you continue to grow and evolve, the previous version continues to grow and evolve with you, which means that there's going to come a time and a point where you will just stay a butterfly. Yes, you're still going to go back to the previous version, but it's still going to be a much more evolved version of you that you are today. It is how humans exist, that we go back to a previous version, but you get to choose and decide what that previous version is. It's just, and you also get to decide and choose what do you want to do every single day to grow yourself, to overcome yourself. I like to ask, what's one scary thing that I did today, or uncomfortable thing that I did today? And if I didn't do it, I'm gonna go and do it. It's not, there's no such thing as, oh, I'll do 2 tomorrow. No. You do something scary and uncomfortable every single day. For a while there, it was just getting out of bed when the alarm goes off. That was so scary and uncomfortable to a point, and I came to a point where that was no longer scary and uncomfortable because I faced my fear. I overcame myself, and in overcoming myself, I became a different version of myself. And then what was the next thing? The next thing was make the bed every single day, no matter what time of the day it is. Even if we're just right before going to bed, I would take the time to make the bed. So I did that one scary thing, uncomfortable thing that I did not want to do. Then that became comfortable, then on to the next one. Just choosing, I'm not saying for you to go and do skydiving. I'm not saying to go, talk to a stranger that you're petrified of. I'm saying figure out what is the one small, uncomfortable, scary thing for you right now. It might be just even brushing your teeth. And it has to do with you. How are you going to grow and evolve? Meaning understanding the intention behind what it is that you're doing. It might be brushing your teeth. It might be doing your hair. It might be putting makeup on. It might be actually getting dressed and looking nice and presentable for yourself. Because you're not doing any of these things for anyone else. You're doing it for yourself. Or it might be actually dressing down and wearing pajamas. There was time in my life where I'm like, I'm just going to wear a pajama and one of these head things, and I'm going to put myself on social media that way. Because that was scary and comfortable. I did it a couple of times. I'm like, you know what? That's not scary and comfortable. That's actually too fun. So let's move on to something else. So figuring out what is that one next scary, uncomfortable thing that you want to do that will help you to evolve to a better version of yourself? It can be something with your habits, your routines, your personality, something that you want to achieve, your goals, your dreams, or yeah, those are the ones that I remember right now. And what is the one thing in one of those areas that you can do and overcome until it is a normal or a norm to you? Because it's only scary for the first couple of times. After that, it's going to be easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Hey Laura, how are you doing, beautiful? Laura says, I have really been catching myself on all the disempowering things I say to myself and about myself. I'm going to congratulate you on that, because catching yourself is very uncomfortable, and you are facing those discomforts and you are facing them head on and dealing with them. So I applaud you for doing that, doing the uncomfortable thing that one day will become very comfortable. It will become empowering. So keep doing it. Rebecca said, we catch ourselves now. Stop, think, reflect, join something different for the next time. Yeah. You catch yourself, you stop and you think, you pause. Instead of reacting, you pausing so you can respond and choose something different, right? Choose a different path, different direction. But take the time to understand where it's coming from as well. There was, how do I put it? A lot of the things that we might be going through right now, the fears that we might have, might and often are related to our experiences as children. So example being, I had one client that I was speaking with, and she brought to me that right now she's dealing with, she's been really fearful and waking up every morning being really fearful and feeling like there's something wrong with one of her kids, that something is going to go wrong, something is going to happen. And through a conversation, through asking questions, coaching questions, she revealed to me that when she was about the same age as a child, as one of her kids was, that she was waking up fear and experiencing fear with or about, that she was worried that there was some health concerns that were going to end up in the hospital, that she shared with me that she at that age ended up in the hospital. She was in the hospital dealing with her own health because she ate a raw hot dog and was also dealing with dehydration. So through that, I helped her to see that how the programming that she has received at that age and stage of her own personal life, now she has children that same age, and there is, the best way to describe it is that there's an emotional story that is literally packed in the creases of our bodies from our experiences, that by understanding where that comes from, we're able to let go of those fears and worries, because we start to recognize that I am in a way projecting my own past life experiences when I was young and I was that age, that now I am conditioned to worry about my child being the same age and stage, and I'm assuming that the same things are going to happen because I went through that. So recognizing, that's why it's important to go dig a little bit deeper to understand, where is this coming from? Where is this thought pattern coming from? Where are these worries coming from? Is it something to do with the past, around the same age and stages? And how does that apply to what you're going through right now? How does that apply to your worries and panics about your child? And she was able to understand that that is my own story and I'm the one projecting, and there's nothing wrong with my child. My child is absolutely healthy, happy, and doing well. It's just my own state of being, my own thoughts, feelings, and emotions that I am in a way putting onto this child and worrying unnecessarily. By getting rid of that worry, she was able to focus more on herself and work on herself and the other areas of her life. So that's why, catching ourselves, stop and think and reflect is vitally important as well. Unless it's traumatic place to go to, and then I would recommend doing that with a professional to help you through it. Otherwise, you can get stuck in that place and state without having an escape ladder to get out of there. Rebecca said, that's what I taught my students and my kids. I love that. And Laura says, LOL, pajamas definitely too fun and comfortable. Yeah, but being in pajamas in front of people online didn't feel like it was going to be comfortable. It felt like it was going to be scary, and for a second it was, but after a bit I'm like, hey, I'm the one that's comfortable, you guys aren't. So yeah, it definitely was really quickly. And Rebecca says, I live in loungewear. Hey, loungewear can be anything. I would call this loungewear, this sweater that I took from my daughter's closet. My daughter and I share clothes now. It's great. Until she outgrows me. She's already 3 inches taller than me, and she's only 14. And then I like to wear my stretchy pants, my yoga pants, the ones that have pockets on the side, so I can put things in my pockets, my phone and things, and get from one point to another point. So anyways, other than that, I feel like that is quite a bit about why a butterfly cannot go back to the caterpillar stage. And those of you who have not watched the whole entire video and you want to understand a bit more about your own personal growth and evolution, I invite you to watch it from the beginning and take notes and do something with those notes that you take. Don't just take them for fun, but do something with them. And Laura said, we get addicted to unconscious feelings like anxiety, fear, and worry. 100%. The moment that I recognized that my anxiety and the depression that I was dealing with was in a way an addiction, where I woke up looking for it, because in working on myself and healing myself, I remember there were mornings where I started waking up with no anxiety, no depression, and I would look for it like an addict would. And in looking for it, I got it. If you seek, you shall find. So I got it, and then I recognized that, oh my God, this is an addiction. There was Tony Robbins that I heard talk about it, that we get addicted to these negative feelings and emotions because it becomes our safe place in a way. It's our comfort zones, even though they don't feel comfortable, but the comfort zone is because it's so familiar that we know exactly what to expect, and doesn't mean that it's going to be good. Anyways, thank you very much for all of you ladies being on here with me and sharing yourselves with me and commenting and interacting and letting me into your worlds a little bit. And that's all that I shall share with you on this video. I will see you tomorrow on Bethany's and I Heal the Unicorn podcast in the group that we go live in, which is that's the wrong one. Heal the Unicorn, spiritual growth and emotional healing for women. So if you're not in the group, come and join and check it out for yourself. And if you want to be present for the podcast or any of the live videos that I do, set a reminder on your device or on your phone, because sometimes it doesn't notify you. And if we're not yet friends, then send me a friend request, and that way you would see whenever I do go live, whether it's in the group or on my personal page. And you can also, I believe you can turn the notifications to see when I go live, so that way you get that notification right away without having to set an alarm on your phone. But other than that, until we see each other next time, tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. ish Eastern time on the podcast Heal the Unicorn with Bethany and I, or next Tuesday for another story time with me. It will be a different one each and every Tuesday, and that one will be at 11:30 Eastern time as well, depending on when the sacred circle ends. I hop from there onto the live pretty much right away. Other than that, until we see each other next time, bye ladies.